And we're back. Welcome to another Looking for Work. Super excited to be here. And as we do each week, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a question in the chat box. It'll come directly to me, and then I'll be able to answer your questions. Looking forward to being as helpful as I possibly can. We do this every week on Tuesdays. This is kind of a staple of our weekly social media. How's everybody doing this week? I'm excited. We're headed back into the office next week, so I'm excited to have folks coming back into both Escondido and Southeast. And we're about to launch another cohort of apprentices, making that announcement hopefully this week. So I know everybody, that's the most important question everybody has for me is when do the applications open up? But we're close. We're not quite there. We're not quite ready on our side to screen everybody. So what questions do you have? Happy to answer. I'm looking down to see if LinkedIn is showing us live, and we are live, so that's good. So what's going on? This is gonna be a short one. If I don't have a lot of questions, I just jumped off of a conference call, so I'm gonna jump back on the conference call if there are not a lot of questions. But I'm happy to hang out here for a bit, answer some questions, and then see if we can help shorten that time it takes for you to land that first gig. So what questions do you have? I know last week we had some really good ones, but I didn't get any over the course of this week. So I'm hoping that means everybody's got a job. So my work here could be done. Again, the easiest way to get a question to me is just to drop it into the chat. It's fine to say hello and hi and all that good stuff as well. So if there's anybody out there and you're seeing this, drop me a comment, drop me a little thumbs up or a like or subscribe. This is going across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. So nice. First question. Now that I have some projects under my belt and I'm starting to apply for jobs, what's the best way to demonstrate a portfolio? So I like two things. I like from being able to manage it, something super simple to maintain. So I like WordPress and, find a simple theme that just lets you showcase your work. Or the other option would be to create a really simple list. I mean, dead simple. You could even host it on like GitHub, create a GitHub pages, and it's just link from project to project, maybe a picture, description, and text. I wouldn't spend a lot of time developing the portfolio site itself, but I think if you cannot give someone a live link to the actual application, it's best for you to give a screenshot of a few of the critical screens, things that you've built out, things that might be interesting, and then sort of a summary of this is what you learned, what your takeaways were from working on the project, some of the interesting things that you found about the technology that you used for the project. And then overall, it's great to be able to demonstrate like this is actually in use or someone's using it. But if not, if it's just a passion project, like, what inspired you about it? Like, why did you decide that this was what was interesting to you? Or if you're doing it for somebody else and it's live, like, okay, who's benefiting now from having this application live? Because it will help people understand like the persona that you've envisioned being supported by this solution, whatever your solution is. So that at a high level is what I'd be looking for when I'm evaluating someone's portfolio to see like, do these projects make sense? So try and like think about it like you're trying to give someone a sense of you saw a problem, here's how you address that with your code. Or you saw something that you were interested in learning more about in terms of technology and how to apply it, and this is why you made the decision to do it with this site. Give them more of that, because otherwise it's really just like a link to the project so I can test it out myself and try it, see if it works. So hopefully that helps. Good to see you, Lexius. Any other questions? That's a good one. All right. If we don't have any others, like I said, I'm going to jump back off. So I'll give it, the whole 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. And if we have another question comes in the next, 60 seconds or so, take some time to answer it. Otherwise, we'll do it next week. Every week we do it same time. So this is, there's a ton of previous. So if you're stumbling upon this, check out the YouTube channel. I've done this every week now for months, feels like years because of COVID, but I've done this for a while, so more than happy to continue to do this every week. So you can go to the YouTube and you can see a whole bunch of the previous ones if you're interested. Samuel asks, what's the status of SDJS? We're cranking along. We did a short monthly last month, and I believe based on the governor's announcement, I believe we're going to be back sooner rather than later. We have to meet as a board and make sure that everybody's good with it. Venues have to come back around and say they're good with it. But as an organization, we're a 501c3, so we're robust, and we haven't had as many in-persons, but I think we'll have in-person meetups happening pretty soon. So that's super nice for the folks that are here in San Diego because we'll be back in person. But I'm hoping that we'll still continue to do some virtual events now that we have sort of a broader community that's been able to attend some of our events that have been virtual, a little bit more distributed. I know we've got even organizers that are no longer in San Diego, but they're in San Francisco and elsewhere, and they still sort of participate in our events now that we've done a lot of them digital. So hopefully that's I think that's the substance of your question, which is like, when are we going to have our next meetups? But we're working on it, I think. What other core HTML, CSS, JS skills need to master before starting to apply for a junior role? So I'm not sure. I like the word master with the sort of a generic, such a generic category of all of these different things. But what I think you'll want to get a good sense of is that you feel like you can be productive and given a set of tasks with enough detail. We need a landing page with a form on it, and you need to be able to post this form to the back end. I think that would be a pretty good measure of, okay, I feel like I could handle that and I could do it fairly quickly. And that would be a good sense of okay, I think I'm good and ready for a front end position, right? So you need to think about what some of the essential skills are for the day-to-day tasks of a front end software engineer. And then do you feel like you are there? You might need some support. You might need to look some things up, but you feel like you could confidently do it with React or Angular or, some other library or framework. Once you feel like you're in good shape in terms of having that, and once you feel like you have a few passion projects and some work that you can use to demonstrate that you have that skill, then I think it's great for you to just start applying and start figuring out, do employers believe that you have the skill set? And if employers are telling you, hey, you need a little bit more experience, that might mean you'll need a little, or it might mean you need a lot. So you have to kind of take that feedback and again, continue to sort of incorporate that into how do you feel about your current level of skill? Because it's really more than, mastery is more about, do you feel like you can meet the requirements of the job postings? And in many cases, the requirements are going to say, we want 1 or 2 years of experience, but then they'll list some specific things that they'll want you to be able to do. And I used front-end engineering because I think that's the lowest entry point would be front-end. Next is usually full stack, so front-end and back-end. And then finally, people that are focused really on back-end web development, that's usually the third and more challenging. Because usually they kind of understand if you're a full stack developer, you may not have a huge mastery of back-end development, but you have enough to be able to understand how to persist data, get it in and out of a database. And that is usually enough to qualify you as okay, full stack developer. So hopefully, Isaiah, that makes sense. Samuel, yeah, I am super excited as well. And I'm hearing there's some people coming back to San Diego. So Jeffrey Jones over at Amazon saw posting today. He's coming back to San Diego. So some of the San Diego JS community, I think, is also going to be back here and ready for these events. So I'm looking forward to it as well. What else? What other questions? Took us a little while to warm up, but I think we're there now. So if you've got a question, drop it in the comments field. That will automatically, I'll see those comments as you put them in. It's not automatic, but there's a little time delay. But when you put the comment in there, it'll shoot over to me. I'll see it, and then I'll be able to sort of respond in real time and help answer your questions. And as I said before, if you don't make this live, feel free to send me an email. My email is mike@cccareers.org, and be more than happy to take that email, save it until the next week. And every Tuesday we do this same time, 12 o'clock Pacific. So this is a great way to, like I said, get some questions answered. What else? Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to hop off, and we'll do this again next week. Same time, same channel. Later.